Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. The hype for the Euros is well and truly here. We get underway later this evening on Friday night, and of course England get their campaign on Sunday. But before we get there, I am doing a Euro tier list. Basically go through all of the nations, as you can see on your screen right now. Go through all of the nations, have a look at, who I think should have stayed at home, who was a stinker, who could scrape through, last 16 to last 8, could go a long way, and who I believe are the favourites. If you are new, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, but let's not dilly-dally and we will get straight into this. So, there are only 20 of the 24 teams on here. I can't quite work out which ones they have missed out. I'm sure there'll be a big one. I'm sure you guys will pick up on that a little bit better than I will. So we'll jump in with the first one, which I believe is Austria. Austria have a decent team, actually, a very decent team. Whether they'll go very far, it's going to be difficult to say. Obviously, there are only 24 teams, I believe, in the Euros. If I just check, yeah, there's 24 nations in competing at Euro 2020, and for there to be a final 16, that means there is a lot of teams going through. Looking at the group for Austria, they are in a group with the Netherlands, North Macedonia and Ukraine, and so that means I'm going to go with last 16 to last 8. I don't think they'll get any further. I think they've got a decent side. We saw that against England, especially towards the latter stages of the game. They really started to push on. Last 16, I think, would be respectable. Last 8, at a push. Depends on the draw going through. Next up is Belgian, and I'm going to go with could go a long way. They have a very weird group to Belgium because they've got Denmark, Finland and Russia in there. And Russia were decent in the World Cup in Russia. Finland and Denmark maybe outsiders, maybe a little bit of an outside chance of getting through there, but it looks like it could be an easy breeze for Belgium to go through, so I think they are definitely going to go a long way. Then we move on to Croatia, and Croatia again are another team for me that are going to get to the last 16. Croatia, I think Croatia will go through in second. I'd like to believe that England would be able to beat them, but if they went through in first, again, wouldn't really surprise me too much with the quality of the England side, and they've beaten us in a World Cup semi-final, so they've got that over us. I think last 16, fair enough for Croatia. I think they'll probably get more to the last 8. It depends on which route they go, because obviously you have to face one of France, Germany or Portugal, I believe, to get through. Otherwise, and then who knows where you go from there? Who knows? It could be a really difficult one for them. Czech Republic, these are the other team in, the England, Scotland, Croatia group, and I think they could scrape through. And I'm saying that because I think they'll go through in third place if they are going to go through. We have Denmark, and Denmark again are another team that I look at and I think they could do alright, I think they could do alright. We're going to stick Denmark in last 16 to last 8. Don't think they'll get any further than that, and I don't think they'll get to the semis. If they do, it'd be a big shock if they did. England, I've got to be optimistic, got to say, could go a long way. I think it's more likely that they'll get to the last 8 of the last 16. Like I said, depends on how they get out of that group, because if they end up against Germany or France or Portugal, it could be a really long Euros for England, or a really short Euros in that sense. A long as in hard, difficult, but a short one as in will be out pretty quickly. Finland are the other team in that Belgium group, and I think that Belgium group isn't a group of death, but it's definitely a difficult one. Could they scrape through over Russia? I'm not so sure. I'm trying to think of some of their players off the top of my head. I'm not so sure. So unfortunately, they're going in stinker category for me. Don't think they're going to go through, and I think they'll be rock bottom of their group. Germany. Now, this is a difficult one, because if they weren't in this group with, I keep mentioning this awful group that they're in. If they weren't in this group, it could be completely different and can be completely contrasting. Germany, though, they've got a weird team at the minute. They don't really have an out-and-out striker, with Werner not firing. Muller, probably the most attacking player out with them. I'm going to put could go a long way, because I still see them as an entirety as stronger than Portugal. Italy. Who are Italy in a group with? Ooh, that's a easy group for Italy. People are saying they're underdogs. They're not. They've won the World Cup in the last, 15 years, so they're definitely not underdogs. A massive footballing nation as well, aren't they? I don't want to put too many people in could go a long way, but I genuinely think Italy could go a long way. Like, it depends on how they're going to play, doesn't it, really? They obviously missed out on the World Cup last time round. That's maybe not the best of warning signs, but this team has changed a lot. I think they could go a long way. In fact, I'm going to put them in the last 16. I feel like that's more of a confident one. I don't want to be overly confident, and of course we don't want too many people in this could go a long way category. The Dutch, I'm going to put them with could scrape through. They're not in the greatest of form, the Dutch national team. They're without Van Dijk, they're without a couple of key players. Whether they'll go the distance, I don't think so. I think they'll scrape through. I don't think they'll scrape through the group because they're in the same group as Austria. Don't think they'll scrape the group, but I don't think they'll do very well. And with the Ukraine, who are a side that, could sometimes perform, could sometimes be bad.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
We'll wait and see. I think Netherlands won't be the greatest though, and I think if they do get a long way, it'll be kind of like Portugal, where they don't really beat teams emphatically. Instead, just sort of scrape their way through. A couple of 1-0 wins here and there, and maybe even a goal fest, because they have conceded a lot of goals as well. Poland. Ooh, Poland are a difficult one, because obviously Robert Lewandowski makes no game against Poland easy. So I'm going to put them in could scrape through as well. Moving on to Portugal. And Portugal, this is where I've got to think about France and Portugal together. Who do I think is going to go through in third place? And, well, if they do go through in third place, and who do I think is going to go through in second? I think France are one of the favourites for this competition, so they're going in my favourites category. They've reached the European final in 2016, they won the World Cup in 2018, and this could be their year to win another Euros. So France are one of my favourites, and I'm not overly convinced on Portugal, so I'm going to put last 16 to last 8. This obviously depends on how that group finishes. If they all end up like drawing a few games and stuff like that, then yes, maybe they'll scrape through with third place. But it could end up be that they only pick up 3 points against Hungary, and that would again be another issue for Portugal, because they might not go through and they could be out in the group. I personally think that Germany and France will go through over Portugal, but with Cristiano Ronaldo in that team, you don't know what can happen. Russia. I think they impressed a lot of people at the World Cup. I think the home advantage helped them a little bit. Don't think they're going to be the greatest, if I'm brutally honest with you. I think they could scrape through, but that's as high as I can put them. That is as high as I can put them in this video. Spain, for me, on my 2-Minute Tuesday prediction, I did manage to get them to the final, so I guess I've got to say, could go a long way. I think Spain will be a side that are very well drilled, very well versed in what they're supposed to be doing, and as a result of that, I think they'll do well, and I think they will go a very, very long way in this tournament. Sweden, Zlatan, is he still out? Let's have a quick check. Zlatan, Euro update. Their star man Zlatan Ibrahimovic is not going, which for me, I think is going to be a stinker. I don't think they're going to do very well, Sweden. They're next to their Scandinavian friends, and I don't think they will do very well. We'll move on to Ukraine, because Switzerland, Turkey and Wales are all in one group. So we'll move on to Ukraine, and I'm just looking at where I put the Netherlands. Could scrape through. Would that imply that they go in third? That's the question, because I don't think they'll finish third. I think they'll finish first or second, which means do they really scrape through? No. So I will move them up a category. And then Ukraine will go, could scrape through. I cannot see them finishing bottom. If they finish bottom and North Macedonia finish above them, God, something's gone wrong for Ukraine there. Something has gone wrong. And then we have the 3 teams here, and of course the 4 which aren't on this tier list, but hopefully I'll be able to edit something in there. So the 3 teams we have here are Switzerland, Turkey and Wales, and I think this is a really, really tough one. So we've got Italy in this last 16 stage, and I do wonder where these teams will finish. Switzerland, I would say maybe on paper have a really strong team of individuals. Turkey, though, looked impressive in their World Cup qualifiers and the European qualifiers, whichever one it was. And Wales, they did so fantastically last time round, and I think this is the most difficult. I don't think I'm going to put any of them in the stinker category because it's hard to pick between them. You know, you've got semi-finalists of the last Euros in Wales, and, you know, Turkey and Switzerland aren't bad either. So I'm going to go with Wales. We could scrape through. I don't think it'll be as straightforward as it was for Wales. Well, it wasn't straightforward last time. I don't think it will be as successful for Wales as it was last time, you know, beating the likes of Belgium. But who knows? None of us saw Wales going that far, especially when they lost to England in the last time out. I think Turkey will be the other team to get to the last 8 and the last 16, and I'm also putting Switzerland in the could scrape through category. Moving on to the 4 that aren't already on here, and North Macedonia should have stayed at home. Big opportunity for North Macedonia, realistically, isn't it? It could be so good for them. It's a massive opportunity to get some footballing prowess and show some of their skills off. The next team I'm going to talk about is Hungary. Hungary are in a group of death, and for that, they should have just stayed at home. Realistically, are they going to get through? Unless they do a Costa Rica in the 2014 World Cup. I cannot see that really happening, though. Costa Rica had a few sort of good players and a good mentality. Who knows, though? I'm not in their camp. I'm going to put them at should have stayed at home. It's an awful, awful group for them to be tied in. Unfortunately, that is just how the luck draws. We'll move on to Scotland. Scotland, I don't know what to make of Scotland because they're going to be fired up for that England game. Croatia look to be too good. Could scrape through. Yeah, I think that's the most fair. I think they maybe could scrape through, depending if they pick up points against either England or Croatia. If they can pick up points against them and then beat the Czech Republic, they could scrape through. It's difficult. I'm going to put both Scotland and the Czech Republic and could scrape through. I think they'll be battling it out between it, and I think it's a very even group overall. Obviously, England are the favourites, but whether that will actually ring true, we will have to wait and find out. And the final team is Slovakia. Slovakia are in a group with Poland, Sweden and Spain, which looks like a very, very difficult one to get out of. And I'm going to be brutally honest, I cannot see Slovakia going through. But part of me thinks, you know, maybe a 1-1 draw gives them both 1 point. You know what, Slovakia, you're going in the stinker as well. I don't think Slovakia will be great. If they want to prove me wrong, fair enough. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see them progress into the last 16. Those are my thoughts on the tier list. And as you can see on your screen right now, if I've edited them correctly, you should have everything filled out for you. If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe. And, well, to be honest with you, let me know as well, who do you think are your favourites and who are the 4 teams that you think could get to the semi-final if, you know, the favourites don't. I've gone with 4 teams there because I think any of those 4 teams could get to a semi-final depending on the luck of the draw. Thank you for watching and most importantly, stay safe. Cheers!